Hi everyone! Today I am sharing how I made this awesome plaid sign. I used the stencil to make my buffalo plaid, and I've actually had my eye on this stencil for a while now. It's from Amazon, and I am so happy I finally gave this stencil a try because it is so easy to use. For this DIY, I've teamed up with the folks from craftcuts.com. They made me this sign, and they specialize in making metal, foam, plastic, vinyl signs, and they even make stencils. First off, I was pretty impressed with their packaging. I mean, they go all out. Okay, but my favorite part is this. Since my sign has a bunch of loose letters that I would need to align and figure out how far apart they need to be and glue, they made me this stencil that helps guide me and show me how far apart and how straight each letter needs to be. Isn't that awesome? I've never seen this, and I was pretty impressed with this, so I'm excited to give this a go. To make my plaid, I used this paint from Walmart called Waverly Inspirations. They have the prettiest shade of gray and white, and this paint is actually pretty good quality. I started by painting my base white and set it aside to dry. While it was drying, I stained my wood letters with some dark walnut stain. The sides of each letter were actually already dark, so that was pretty nice. Once the stain soaked in for a minute, I used a paper towel to remove any leftover stain. Okay, to make the plaid pattern, I'll be showing you 3 methods that I've tested on this stencil. The first one was using a hard bristle brush. I dipped the brush into some paint and dabbed most of the paint off onto a piece of paper. Then I aligned and taped the stencil before filling in the stencil with the paint. I applied it on in dabbing motions, making sure I don't have too much paint on the brush. The paint dries pretty quickly, so I went over the whole stencil twice to get a more solid look. This method gives the neatest effect of all 3 methods that I've tried, but it took the longest. Before moving on to the next area, be sure to flip your stencil over and wipe any paint off the back of the stencil. Don't forget to do this as it might ruin your surface when laying your stencil down the next time. Be sure to align your stencil a little over the pattern you've already created. This will ensure a perfect pattern. For my second method, I decided to try using a foam brush. I dipped it into some paint and dabbed off most of the paint on a piece of paper as well before going over the stencil. The foam brush was definitely faster than a hard bristle brush, however, it didn't give a neat finish. The edges on the pattern looked a bit rough and not as defined. For my last method, I tried a foam roller. I applied paint on some cardboard and rolled the roller over the paint so the paint adheres to the roller. This makes sure I don't have too much paint on the roller. Then I gently rolled over the stencil to fill in the pattern. This is the fastest method and probably the most dangerous, I would say, because the paint can easily bleed through the stencil without you knowing it. If you choose this method, make sure your foam roller has very little paint on it. But if your paint does end up bleeding through, you can always fix it with some white paint once it dries. For my wooden frame, I cut some square dowels and stained them to match my wood letters. Then I started by attaching my letters. I first aligned the stencil for the smaller letters and lay my thankful sign over to ensure that's where I wanted them. Then I lay all my letters out using the stencil as a guide. To secure them, I used some Gorilla wood glue and I applied a tiny bit with a brush to the back of each letter. Then I simply laid the letter down and pushed it down. It should adhere to the surface almost immediately. Once you've glued all your letters, your stencil is ready to be pulled away, and voila! Isn't this super easy? Okay, next I lay down my thankful sign and gently marked where I would like it on both ends. Then I flipped it over and applied glue with a brush as well. Here's the glue I used. This is one of my favorite glues to use with wood projects. Then I flipped the sign over, aligned it to where I had marked previously, and pushed it down to secure it. Okay, this is my favorite part of the DIY. I'll be showing you how I've been attaching all of my wood frames without any nails. This is super easy to do. First, make sure your wooden board isn't too thin. Then, take your wooden dowels and apply Gorilla wood glue to the bottom half of the dowel. Gently push it against your sign and attach tape to help hold it in place while the glue is drying. You'll need to add a little bit more tape than what the video shows and repeat these steps on all 4 sides. Once the glue has set, remove the tape and that's it! This glue is so strong and the frame holds on super well. Here's how the sign looks! I really love how easy this was to make. We had a family photo shoot for our Christmas photos with this sign and they turned out so stinking cute. A huge thank you to Craft Cuts for gifting us this sign, and honestly, they couldn't have made it easier to put together. They really know what they're doing. That's it for this DIY. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Don't forget to check out my blog in the link down below for more DIYs. I will see you all next time. Bye!